Perth Glory dish up their worst performance in the Adam Griffiths era. The Glory girls stunned Canberra thanks to another Susan Phonsongkham Olimpico. And the new A-League's boss, Steve Rosich, features on APL State Media. Welcome to the Far Post Perth, all presented by ID Athletic. Download the latest football catalogue at idathletic.com, and also Trio Homes if you're looking to build, redesign or renovate, triohomes.com.au. Blayne Treadgold is my name, and we've had to go to the subs bench once again, and we've brought in Murray Stevens because no one else rocked up tonight. I think they apparently had a bloody concert called Good Charlotte.
Am I the only one?
That sounds right.
Am I the only one who didn't have a ticket to this concert?
Yeah, I know.
Sounds like it.
Literally everyone's gone. Muzz, welcome back.
Oh, it's great to be back, isn't it? Great studio.
Good stuff, yeah.
Wish some of the other co-hosts were here, though.
Yeah, I know.
It'd be much better, you know.
I know. Well, we wouldn't have you if that was the case.
Mr. Sherwin once again avoiding me, the prick. Hope all is well, Neil.
Renton's with us, mate. How's things?
Good.
What's going on? What's been happening in the week?
Nothing much, mate.
No?
No.
No?
It's all been good.
Is Neil avoiding you because of that Derby loss?
Yes.
Still?
Yes. Because I
heard his rebuttal last week.
So he could only do his rebuttal when I wasn't here. So, for me, it just says it all. But anyway.
Well, there we go. Boys, let's get into it. Enough of the small talk. The good, the bad, and the ugly for another week. Mr. Murray Stevens, kick us off.
The bad?
What's been good?
Oh, the good.
The bud?
Yeah. Yeah, that's been good. Yeah, the bud has been good. I don't know. Fantastic time of year. Nice summer days, summer nights. Night series is on. Got down some state league on the weekend.
Yep.
Absolutely fantastic time of year.
Good stuff. Who did you see, mate? Tell us about it.
Went down to Lark Hill, mate. Took the drive down there, down to Rockingham. Saw them playing against Coburn, and also caught a little bit of the game earlier. Decent competition, and also interesting. I've watched a lot of night series with the NPL sides in seasons past, and you get NPL versus NPL. This you're getting state league 1 and 2 playing off against each other, which is quite different. So some very, very different squads floating about.
Is there much of a gulf, have you found, between State League 1 and State League 2? Or is it just too early in the season?
It's way too early in the season, isn't it?
Probably.
But also interesting, where Coburn, who got themselves promoted from Div 2 last year, are now Div 1 squad and got beaten by Rockingham, who didn't look like they were ever going to be promoted at any stage last year.
Yeah.
So, very, very interesting results so far.
What's been good in your week, Renton?
Going to be for a different take.
Yeah.
The scenes for Macclesfield's 1-0 loss against Brentford. Look, obviously they're a team from the National League, and for them coming up against a Premier League side at home, many would have thought.
Are they in the Nash now?
I believe they are.
Are
yes.
they? Right.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So many would have expected Brentford to have, put 3, 4 or 5 past them, but it was a 1-0 loss, and it was quite a spirited performance. And there was a clip that went around of Keith Andrews talking to the Macclesfield players afterwards, and it was some good scenes that we like to see in football, particularly in a competition like the FA Cup with the history that it has, where you can have teams all the way at the top of the pile, if you like, playing against teams all the way down in the National League. I just thought it was some good scenes, and maybe one day 1 or 2 of those Macclesfield players, if they dream big, they could end up League 1 Championship or even perhaps the Premier League, but that's just one of the good parts of, English football with that cup system.
Well, you've stolen a bit of my thunder because I had the FA Cup as well.
Sorry.
No, not at all, but it just goes to show that, it is a good thing at the moment. And, I mean, I've always loved the FA Cup, and unfortunately in recent years, I think it's lost a little bit of its romance, and obviously they stuffed around with it and got rid of the replays, and that was some of the best parts of it, was that you could be a lower league team, you could take a top side to a replay back at home and get stuck into them, and these little, shithole little towns up in the northeast somewhere.
You're just bagging out.
No, but it is. I mean, and do you know what?
No respect for the football pyramid.
Well,
I mean, you would have seen a lot
this,
of it with Leeds in recent years.
This is what I love, because I'm not sure if you saw Grimsby Town and Wolves, but that was like an FA Cup tie back in the 70s. That was an absolute mud bath, and the guys wearing the kits, you couldn't almost, at some stage, you couldn't work out which team they were playing for, because they were covered in that much mud and shit. So brilliant stuff, brilliant. And
the first thing, if they want to restore the luster, have it as a standalone fixture after the season like it used to be on the weekend. And that was brilliant. It used to be a fixture that, in Australia, everyone used to look forward to, let alone the UK.
Well, it was one of the only prior to kind of SBS showing the Premier League and that kind of thing, it was one of the only football matches that you got to watch. And then a little bit later on, you got to watch it live. So it was something that a lot of football fans kind of look forward to.
That and the coverage starting like 6 hours beforehand.
Oh,
was brilliant.
Builds it up.
Yeah, no, it was excellent.
The whole lead up was excellent.
And then you got the next round, Wrexham drawing Chelsea in the next
That'll
round.
Be a blockbuster.
Well, the way that Wrexham's going at the moment, they've got them at home. So, I mean, and you're going to sell it out. You're going to make good gate takings and everything else like that. And this is all part of it, is there is a little bit of a financial kickback for these small clubs as well if they can host the big boys.
You're going to call Wrexham a small club?
Well,
some big pockets.
They came from small places. Put it that way. But yeah, no, I just thought the all round the FA Cup was pretty good. My boys got over Birmingham on pens. It was a little bit squeaky bum time there for a while, but they did it in the end. And we've got Norwich next round, so not a bad draw for us either. Muzz, what's been bad, mate?
Ooh, let's see. I don't know whether to call this the bad or the ugly, but it's going to be Perth Glory, or the men's at least.
Yep.
That performance probably the worst ever seen under Griffo.
Yep.
Yeah. Just outnumbered in the middle of the park, caught out at times. So yeah, that'll be my bad.
We'll go a bit deeper into the next section, but it's I certainly had us walking away scratching our heads. Renton?
Lewis Miller's injury.
Yeah. Yeah. Good one.
Shit luck.
Yeah.
Shit luck. So he had surgery, was it yesterday or the day before, I think? So ruptured his Achilles, out for 9 months.
He was, I know a few people that support Blackburn, and he'd become a bit of a fan favourite. Just solid, reliable.
Yeah.
I got a message on Saturday night saying, it looks like Miller's gone.
Well, that's going to be interesting to see who Popper goes with. It might be Jaco Italiano who gets the nod at right wing back, perhaps. I don't, because I'm not
anyone in the A-League
that plays as a wing back though. That's the thing.
Because Bajic
has got that left hand side down pat. On the right, you would have thought Lewis Miller. Not sure what to go with Ryan Strain is. But yeah, in terms of the wing back, unless Popper changes his shape, I think our options are a little bit thin. So that's why I'm sort of defaulting to someone like Italiano. Yeah,
interesting. But it's very much square peg round hole kind of areas, isn't it?
Yeah, you could argue that. I
think.
Yeah. But I think Jacob has played a number of times in Germany as a wing back before. Yeah. So it wouldn't be a position that he's unfamiliar with. But it just depends on how Popper, goes about it for the World Cup coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's certainly bad. Certainly wish Lewis Miller all the very best. I'm just going to stick to a Perth theme, but bad. How many goals are Perth going to concede by backing away from a player at the top of the box this season?
Mm-hmm.
I reckon it must have happened about 5 or 6 times. That retreat, all right, stop, pop, no one's coming at me, give me 10 minutes to make a cup of tea and then pop it into the top corner. It's happened numerous times this season. And it's not we're not talking one-on-ones here. We're talking about a full kind of backline retreating and no one stepping out, even if it's just to put the player off a little bit and put a bit of pressure on. Happened again on the weekend with Bayliss, I felt. So, not great, and a little bit of work to be done by Perth Glory to move forward as they get set for Adelaide on Friday night. Muzz, what's been ugly?
Look, I don't actually have an ugly this week.
Hey?
Can we put it out to the fans? SMS your opinions in on the
Well, we have got a few that came through on the social media, mate, so they've all beaten you to it.
Well, I'll take one of them. Read out the first one, that'll be mine.
I'll go through these afterwards, mate, but no, that's all right. So, ugly,
I don't think there's been anything that bad in certainly the realms of Western Australian football and Australian football that you could call ugly, at least anyway.
Yeah, no,
but I'm ready to be corrected on this because I know you two have got one lined up.
That's fair. We'll see what comes up. Renton, what's been ugly?
Glory.
Just Glory? Yeah.
No, just shit. I mean, like, how many times are we going to say this team has the potential to be a finals team and then it craps its pants? I spoke to a few people before the game and there was that sort of that dreaded feeling where it's like we might be in a bit of trouble here, but it's like these are the sorts of games where you'd want to see if you're any good. You're playing against the top team at home. They've won, at the time, 6 in a row. If you're good enough, you stand up. And that was sort of the point of my piece that I wrote last week, where it was time to stand up. And we didn't. And it was pretty embarrassing. So, you know, the players can tell us as much as they like that they know what a good dressing room looks like, or they believe they can make the finals. No team in the A-League this season has lost more games than us. Yeah. So stats don't lie.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the home form, I don't know what's happened to that home form.
It's crap.
I don't know what's going on there, but that's certainly been an ugly part. My ugly is the pitch at Sydney. I was really strong on the pitch up in Brisbane. I've got to be equally as strong on this. 6 months, Sydney FC were told to depart their home ground to get this ground sorted, and that's what they've dished up.
Are we talking Leichhardt?
No, we're talking about the Allianz.
Yeah. It was like a big, like skid mark straight through the whole of the pitch.
It's disgraceful. And the sooner I've banged on about 2 clubs moving stadiums, and I think, one's Brisbane for certain. Sydney's got to be looking at something. They've got to be looking at something. The only thing is, and as we've spoken about, I think we've spoken about it with Matt Olsen when we had him on, is that there simply isn't any alternatives in the centre of Sydney.
Well, Blayne, I'll address this to you because I think co-host here is way too young to remember.
Yeah, thanks.
The Crawford report.
Yeah.
We go all the way back to the Crawford report, which led to the death of the NSL, the start of the A-League. One of the key recommendations was boutique stadium.
Yeah.
That fits the clubs.
Yep.
Sydney FC playing at Allianz, what's that, 40,000-seater stadium?
Yeah, about that.
Barely cracking 9K, or maybe they'll crack 13, 14 if they have a big game.
Yeah.
Doesn't suit anyone. What are the crowds like at Brisbane? And they've been playing out of Suncorp the whole time.
Well, but
just disgraceful. It doesn't do the product any favours.
No, it doesn't. But
and you're a co-tenant at best.
Oh, no, you are. You're 100% right.
Even MacArthur, 3,000.
They've had the most disgraceful crowds of all, really. Yeah. To the point where you go, why did they decide to put a club there?
I'm going to be a little bit fair on the clubs themselves. There isn't any alternatives. Brisbane, you either play at Suncorp or you play at Redcliffe, which is the equivalent to going past Mandurah for your home games.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. That's why there's such a push to get Perry Park on the map.
Yeah.
All right. And Sydney, you've got nothing in that central Sydney area. I've spoken to people on the ground there, and there's nothing there. I mean, you can look at places like Redfern, which they've tried, didn't work. Belmore, which is just still starting to get out to the southwest.
Yeah.
Manly, off the train line. Like, you know what I mean? So, I mean, for a city of, what are we looking at, 6 million in Sydney at the moment? And that's the only place that one of your 2 football teams can play. It's sad
in a way that a city of 6 million people can't get out and support their 2 clubs.
Well, absolutely, but I mean, that's not just a Sydney thing. That's across the divide, because I think Sydney's crowds are probably sitting between 10 and 15 at the moment. So I mean, they're still up, but that was my ugly from the weekend. It was the Allianz Stadium pitch, and there needs to be some real work that goes into that. A few off the social media rather. I'm not going to go through these individually, but good. There's a few people saying the shed was in great voice. A few people saying that even though the team played pretty poorly, the crowd was still engaged in singing. It was something that I mentioned on the radio broadcast as well. It was good to hear that. Bad and uglies revolve around a little bit of the fan behaviour and security around the place. A few fans thought the security was overzealous and didn't handle certain things in the right way.
That's not new though, is it? There's been issues.
No,
there's been issues with security there going back into the NSL.
Yeah.
Where you get security, they have no idea what a football crowd is, what a football crowd does.
Yeah.
Who are upset that people are standing up in a standing area.
This is despite, to my understanding, the actives having met with MPB security and being advised that it'd be the same personnel that'd be there for every home game.
Well, the feedback is that it's not the same personnel, is it?
No. And the people that were there, like there were scenes that were out of the bay of these little rat bag kids that were taking seats out of the stadium itself. There were 2 secos that were walking over and then ran away. They didn't get involved. They didn't do anything. So
I'm going to put my FSAA hat on for just very, very quickly. I'm a big advocate for supporter marshals.
Yep. Yeah.
I think every club should have them. And I know that Western Sydney Wanderers, their supporter marshals will actually travel to away games with them.
So for people that don't know, can you explain what a fan marshal is?
So a supporter marshal is basically a liaison between the fans and the police and security. So they know you by face. Many of them on a first name basis. They get on very, very well. It's more of a conduit to Muzz. If Muzz is carrying off like a 2-bob watch, then the supporter marshal kind of goes over and says, kind of, Murray, pull your head in, mate. You need to calm down.
So say if I've
rather than police and security grabbing him in a headlock and dragging him out to give him a hiding out the back. So that's the conduit in between those.
So say if I'd taken a children's bicycle into a game and then decided to throw it at a Lions person, would a fan representative...
Don't give anyone any ideas, mate.
What the hell? Have you not seen that?
No.
It was in Turkey over the weekend.
Oh, right. Crikey.
That should have been your good.
But I mean, that's, I think, just back onto that serious note, I think all clubs should have supporter marshals. I think it's just a clever and intelligent way to kind of handle some of these situations. As I said, everyone knows each other on it. They know the people that are meant to be there. They know the blow-ins. You know what I mean? Everyone's on a first-name basis.
Well, there's a point of contact as well if there are ring-ins that come in and fuck things up.
Correct. So, that's what I'd like to see. But, there's a few off the social media. Boys, we might take a very, very quick break. There's still plenty to come. We'll go through the Glory next. We'll have a bit of a look at the Glory women. We're also going to have a bit of a discussion around the two CEOs that have come into the fold. Martin Kugler, of course, the new CEO, which started this just a couple of weeks in for Football Australia, and of course Steve Rosich, who is now the permanent CEO of the APL and the A-Leagues. So we'll get into all of that, and we'll be back after this for more on the Far Post Perth podcast.
What a run! This could be the one! It's in! That's what it's all about! And when it comes to sports gear that helps you perform your best, ID Athletic has the winning formula. From grassroots clubs to elite athletes, ID Athletic provides high-quality sporting apparel, screen printing, embroidery, and made-to-order promotional products. Proud sponsors of the Far Post Perth and passionate supporters of WA community sport. Visit ID Athletic at 84 Howe Street, Osborne Park, or online at idathletic.com. ID Athletic. Build your identity.
Tired of the same old cookie-cutter home designs? Dreaming of a space that truly reflects you? Then it's time to talk to the team at Trio Homes. Whether you're looking to build your dream home, redesign your current space, or simply renovate, Trio Homes is committed to unique designs, local personalised service, and quality workmanship. And with former Perth Glory star Dino Julbich at the helm, you'll know you're getting passion and dedication built into every project. Discover the difference with Trio Homes. Visit triohomes.com.au.
Welcome back to the Far Post Perth podcast. Blayne Treadgold, Murray Stevens, and James Renton. It was pretty adamant off the top, boys. I think we all had the Glory as either bad or ugly in that first section, but I thought we might just go a little bit deeper. Going into this one, I thought that the Glory were a real chance. I probably need to give the Newcastle Jets a bit more respect, because I didn't think that they were the real deal, but after the weekend, I think they still can be the real deal. I thought
who's a better real deal at this point in time?
What's that?
Who's a better real deal?
Well, exactly right. No, you're 100% right. I was pretty impressed with Newcastle. I think we got to be really, really careful not just to say that the Glory were bad, but as much as the Glory were bad, I thought Newcastle were very, very good in what they needed to do. And there was a few times that I just picked up on the demeanour of both teams. Newcastle absolutely meant business when they came. I mean, Mark Milligan was coaching right in front of us, and there was a real different demeanour between himself and Adam Griffiths. But even out in the field, there was a lot more energy in that Newcastle side. And I think to begin with, of course, once we noticed that Tom Lawrence and Nicho Pennington were out, I think the it really kind of highlighted that, look, if Perth miss a couple of big players, then they really do struggle. But one of the big things that I've noticed now, and we can go straight into this, was just how important Rhys Bozinovski was for this side. Now that you're left with, and this is no disrespect at all to Gio Diabru, Will Freeney, and the new guy in Luca Tavares, but they're just very, very green.
Tavares in particular, first A-League game, hasn't played since last season's championship.
Yep.
And thrown straight into the deep end at left wing.
Yeah, out of position.
Yeah, out of position, because he usually plays as an 8.
Yeah,
so,
correct.
Yeah. And what does that say about Perth Glory stocks on the wing, though? To trust a new signing to make their debut over what we got in the sheds?
Yeah, no, well, 100%. And, I mean, there's Wales is out, Pennington's out. There was no one else to play in that position. It was a matter of necessity.
Well, even Pennington is not a natural left winger.
No, he's not. So. He's not. Renton?
I just thought we saw the difference between two coaches that conceptually want the same thing yet go about it in different ways.
Yep.
So Milligan and Griff both want to play the same kind of football. Milligan has a proactive game model that's all about being on the front foot and having consistent behaviours that align with his model of play that's all about keeping the ball on the floor. They only went long 18 times throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Perth Glory went long 55 times throughout the whole game. And the way that Newcastle move the ball, it's almost like it doesn't matter who plays for them because their game style is being on the front foot and being proactive versus Perth Glory, where because it is so reactive and pragmatic that the moment that you lose someone like a Tom Lawrence or even Nicho Pennington or other players from the front line, our game just collapses because our behaviours and our habits for what we're wanting from our players is just not getting the most out of them. Why we're wanting Sebastian Despotovski and Luca Tavares to be making runs in behind and staying on the last line rather than getting involved and coming inside and looking to play football a little bit is beyond me.
Yeah.
But Griff has not shown an ability to change the way that we play to maximise the players that we have. It's just been a bit of a mess. And look, I think, again, he got out-coached, and I think there has to be more respect put on Newcastle because I think they are the real deal. They play a great brand of football. I hated how I loved that the brand of football that Newcastle play. I was like, I wish we could do that. But yeah, I think finals is all but done, I would say, for Glory, given that historically what you've needed as a minimum for the last 2 seasons, either 38 or 39 points, we'd need to be getting about 18 points from our last 9 games.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, is it?
No. So, and again, this is the thing. I'll come back to my initial point that I said earlier. You know, this was our time to stand up. This was our time to, respond from a pretty poor performance against MacArthur. If you need all your heavy hitters out there to be functional and competitive, but importantly win games, then you don't deserve to play finals because Adelaide, who we've got this week coming up, they went to Sydney away, got the job done without Craig Goodwin.
Yeah.
Can we just expand on one thing that you talked about there? And Blayne, we were talking about this in the box at half time, but you talked about Despotovski and Tavares going up, pushing up on the last man.
Yes.
It was almost as soon as we had the ball, they were pushed up and they'd linger there and they'd stay there. And I know that's in previous games late on. That's where the goals would come from.
Yes.
From a long ball from Scott Wooten down the left channel.
Yes.
And Kolakowski running on, Kaczarski having a bit to play as well. But it seems like that was our only plan, and it meant that we were overloaded in the middle of the park. Diabru and Will Freeney were just outnumbered. They always had 3 players to play around, and it didn't work. Meant that when Newcastle had the ball, bang, 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 2-3 short passes, and they were in.
That's, due to this rigid kind of formation that Griff wants to play, it's not the first time that it's happened. I mean, this has happened week after week after week, is that midfield overload.
But again, it's like with our shape, there's about 30, 40 metre gap in between our defenders and midfielders who are building up with Matt Sutton, and then you've got our forwards who are totally far away. Now, as a starting position, that's fine, but you've got to have your wingers drop off that line and look to link up. You can still look to try and play in behind, but it's like we're trying to be a half and half kind of team where we sort of want to build up, but we don't really have the players for it, but then we sort of want to go long as well. There was a still that a friend of mine sent me from the tactical cam angle, and you could literally see Despo wanting the ball played in behind because I'd assume that's the instruction. Yet in the NPL, he was a player that did very well in the middle, combining with play. And as you mentioned with Luca Tavares, With Avondale, he was played as an advanced 8 in a midfield 3, where he was constantly on the ball inside, yet when you look at the heat map of both Despo and Tevere, they were both out wide in redundant positions where they weren't threatening. Meanwhile, Newcastle's forwards, they all cut inside, but they were all in really dangerous areas and they were really effective. So, again, it's food for thought for Griff. It'd be good if he could explain his style of football a little bit more and understand that our issues are not related to our ability, or as he would say, inability to finish our chances. Yeah. Because our conversion rate is actually a league average. It's actually not too bad.
Yeah.
And Ben Smith, I thought, asked him the best question this season when he was basically saying, do you think teams have caught on to how you play? And he didn't really want to admit that. Now, of course, he's not going to admit that in a press conference, but teams have caught on because they're beating us almost the exact same way every single time.
I flicked a question to a couple of the guys that were heading down there, and my question was, did you see this coming? Because it was, in hindsight, and we know hindsight's a brilliant thing, but we could almost see it leading to this point after the last few weeks. I mean, that MacArthur game was very, very similar for me. And what needed to change? I mean, ultimately, when we saw that Bozinovski was going out before it was announced that Pennington wasn't there, I think you could bank your house on Pennington coming into that midfield because he had to.
This result has been coming if you look at the rolling XG as an example. So you look at the week by week XG. Ever since the Brisbane game, the quality of chances that the opposition have been having, that's been going up while the quality of our chances has gone down.
Right.
That changed in the Auckland game where we generated more than Auckland. But then since that game, quality of chances the opposition has been rising. Meanwhile, our quality of chances has gone back down again. So it took for us to play a good team like Newcastle for that result to actually happen. But the underlying numbers have suggested that for some time.
I think until about the 70th or 80th minute, most of our chances were Will Freeney having pings from 30, 40 yards out.
Yeah.
And I think the best opportunity in the first half was when he had a ping and it got deflected on the way through.
Yeah.
Almost caught Delinoff out.
Yeah, how many times did Scott Wooden have to make a block because it was a Newcastle player that was played in behind, or there was a cutback where they weren't going long. It wasn't hoof-ball and inshallah. It was actually, let's try and play a bit of football. And again, it frustrates me with Griff where, again, we don't know much about him. He's that much of an enigma himself.
Is this a thing, though, where he's under too much pressure to do that? Because Newcastle, don't forget, they were bottom of the league early on in the season. They had a good couple of rounds.
Yeah.
And they would either play all the way through teams or they get caught out when they played more experienced sides.
But Milligan adjusted his shape.
He did.
So that was the thing. Like there were lots of times where we exploited it, and even Sydney exploited it because their shape was so high and wide. We would like when we played them in the Hunter. Tom Lawrence's goal was a product of us winning the ball back through Rhys Bozinovski. Sydney FC did that, and that's why Al Hassan
Torres empty net finish.
Yes, but meanwhile, when we tried having a shape like that, that's what led to Brian Kaltak's red card. So it's like, again, I have to ask these questions to Griff because we're seeing the same thing every week.
But I think a lot of it comes back to demeanour. I mean, Newcastle was absolutely fizzing their passes.
So that's the thing. How many times were we missing passes as well?
Yeah, or hesitant because we had to look up and nobody was presenting or we didn't know where we were going.
Yeah, so and then again, it comes down to behaviour. So if Milligan is saying, let's keep the ball on the ground and let's move it through the thirds, then it's almost like that autonomous kind of decision-making for the players. Meanwhile, our guys, Griff might say he wants to play possession football, but if he's allowing them an outlet through saying, you can go long, then you're going to get that hesitancy. Yeah. There's too many times where Will Freeney, I'm glad that he's now starting to be that deep line kind of playmaker where he was doing those switches to Sam Sutton and Chabel Shamoon, but you see it throughout the whole team. There's still that hesitancy, and the amount of times that the ball went backwards and sideways, especially in the second half. Frustrated noises throughout the crowd, particularly in the second half.
A few people got a bit upset that Brian Kaltak's red card, that was a red card all day.
Well,
all
who's
day long,
arguing about that?
Oh, no, there was a few people
arguing about that.
Yeah, there was a few people on social media.
He didn't need to make that challenge.
It's silly.
2-0 down. You're best off letting him go through. He might miss. Instead of taking him down and getting straight
I wouldn't even say that he tried to make a challenge. I mean, I think that just the attacking player was smart, got in front of him, got the old clip of the ankles, and that was it.
There was the very clear pull of the shorts.
So.
I mean, there was. And you're going to try and put pressure. It's that kind of thing you want to try and put pressure on without actually bringing them down. You know what I mean? So,
but again, it's a breakdown in structure where how is it even possible that Newcastle could generate a 3v1 when we're having the ball deep in Newcastle's half itself? Doesn't make sense.
Not too sure about Lawrence. It feels like Pennington will be back for Adelaide. Kaltak gone. Who comes in? Is that just Lishalaski?
I would think it'd be Zach.
Well, he was preferred off the bench to Labib, wasn't he?
Labib, yeah. I'm really concerned about Labib where he ends up. I mean, he is a player who I absolutely rate.
Yeah. He'd be a natural replacement for Brian.
Yeah, no, I think he would. And he can do a job. I've seen him do a job, so I'm not too sure why he's gone so far out of favour. But I think he's an exceptional player, and certainly one of my players. One of my favourites players that I would like to watch last season in a pretty.
Am I right in thinking that Scott Wootton and Brian Kaltak played every single game?
Yeah.
Yes.
So So this will be the first forced change.
Yep.
To that duo.
Boys, elsewhere across the weekend, Wanderers 2, Wellington 2. Doesn't really do anyone any favours, that result.
No, particularly for Western Sydney, who I think were 2-0 up in this game and threw it away.
Correct. Of course, Newcastle beating Perth 3-1. Melbourne victory 1-1 with Brisbane. I guess another result that doesn't really do anyone too much favours.
That's a bad draw for Melbourne victory.
Yeah.
Bad draw. And then Brisbane Raw, I saw some of their fans were pretty disappointed that they were doing the time-wasting antics late on in the game, and they're not exactly in a great position on the table either.
Yeah.
So, poor from both teams.
I was really looking forward to this fixture because I don't know if you remember the reverse fixture was the day that, was it Davidson got sent? No, it was John Rowe, and then Davidson should have got sent.
Yep.
And it got a bit spicy in that one, so I was wondering how this one was going to go. Sydney 1, Adelaide 2. Adelaide's just picking up some points. I think they're under the radar at the moment. Adelaide.
I think they're big.
They've knocked off Sydney twice this season so far.
I think the big test was against Newcastle a couple of weeks ago, and they narrowly missed that one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everyone would be talking them up as well. But they're definitely the most entertaining side in the league.
Yeah,
I mean, How many 3-2 games have they had this season, or 2-alls?
It was a light weekend because obviously Melbourne City in action against MacArthur. Going great guns too. That coefficient's looking really, really good. I think the talk is that we could get a third team into Asian competitions by 27-28 if we start on this trajectory. So. Not next season after. Looking pretty good.
So what's changed in recent years then? Because traditionally, apart from the Western Sydney Wanderers, Australian sides have always struggled in Asia.
Well, I don't think always struggled. I mean, Central Coast won the second tier.
But I guess in the main format of the Champions League Elite, no one's really performed that well. I mean, we didn't perform well. Sydney FC, Melbourne victory.
I mean, we got a bit of a bum rap because that was the height of COVID.
Yeah, of course. But
it wasn't great.
No, but I think Melbourne City, they've been in and around it for a few years now, so they've got a bit of experience. They brought in some good players, so you'd expect for them to be doing well.
We've got a bit of luck because China's going through some real pain at the moment over in their league. Malaysia's at the World Court of Arbitration over their league at the moment.
Vietnam, was there an issue with Stephen Mork's team or something like that?
I'll have to have a look.
They played, was it 2 ineligible players?
Oh, okay.
Stephen Mork, I think he picked up a third yellow card the week before and then ended up playing the following weekend where he should have been suspended.
Yep. Okay. There's a little bit that's kind of gone in Australia's favour.
So what's going on in China, though? Is that...
I'd have to have a bit of a... I know that in their league there was teams that got deducted points for match fixing allegations.
Shanghai was one of them. Kevin Muscat's team.
Shanghai. I think all of them got caught up in it except for John Aloisi. So Ross Aloisi got caught up in it. Not directly involved. We have to make that really, really clear. But their clubs got caught up in it.
I think, but was it Kevin Muscat's team that got hit?
Kevin Muscat got
minus
hit,
6 points. I think they're starting.
Yeah. So and then Malaysia's got issues with playing foreign nationals.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
So am I right in thinking that some of these are like historical offences from like 4 or 5 years ago?
You'd have to have a look, mate. You'd have to do a bit of digging in that as well. Also, while we're just talking about Asian competitions, if Newcastle win the league, Heidelberg could be playing Asian football next year.
Oh, we need to make it happen, don't we?
So I saw that come up on X today. But isn't this what we want?
Yes.
It's exactly what we want.
How brilliant would it be?
Yeah. It's exactly what we want.
And there's a lot of talk about Anastasiadis should be next coach off the rank in the A-Leagues. Imagine him coaching Heidelberg. In Asian competition. That'd be fantastic.
And another result from the A-League tonight, a 95th minute.
Oh, that was funny.
Own goal.
if you've seen it, it was like Popovic.
Was it Ryan Grant or Alex Grant?
Alex.
Was it Alex?
So Alex Popovic has tried to clear the ball and it's just clattered off Alex Grant, right? And it was like the last minute of added time. No. Straight in front of the
1-1 between Auckland and Sydney. There you go. That rounds us out, boys. Any final thoughts on the round that was?
No, not particular. No.
All right. On that note, we'll wrap things up and come back out the other side, and we'll chat a few other things. We'll talk about the new CEOs, Martin Kugler and Steve Rosich, and what they might want to get up to in 2026. We'll have a bit of a chat about the Perth Glory women, and we'll look ahead to plenty more. You're on the Far Post Perth podcast.
What a run! This could be the one! It's in! That's what it's all about! And when it comes to sports gear that helps you perform your best, ID Athletic has the winning formula. From grassroots clubs to elite athletes, ID Athletic provides high-quality sporting apparel, screen printing, embroidery, and made-to-order promotional products. Proud sponsors of the Far Post Perth and passionate supporters of WA community sport. Visit ID Athletic at 84 Howe Street, Osborne Park, or online at idathletic.com. ID Athletic. Build your identity.
Tired of the same old cookie cutter home designs? Dreaming of a space that truly reflects you? Then it's time to talk to the team at Trio Homes. Whether you're looking to build your dream home, redesign your current space, or simply renovate, Trio Homes is committed to unique designs, local personalised service and quality workmanship. And with former Perth Glory star Dino Julbich at the helm, you'll know you're getting passion and dedication built into every project. Discover the difference with Trio Homes. Visit triohomes.com.au.
Third and final part of the Far Post of Perth. Big thanks to ID Athletic. Don't forget to download the latest football catalogue, idathletic.com. And also, Trio Homes. Big thanks to Dino Julbich and the team. If you're looking to build, redesign or renovate, triohomes.com.au. Boys, I put a bit of a note here as a little bit of a burning question, and I'm not sure if you guys saw, but a little bit earlier this week, or was it last week? Must have been last week. Steve Rosich, the new CEO of the A-Leagues, came out, and I had a bit of a chat to Amy Duggan, in fact. It was APL sanctioned media and what goes along with that. So it was very gentle, but I mean, that's what you expect from that kind of platform, don't you? They're not going to...
Nobody's going to go to their boss and say, do you really believe that, sir? Is that really true? Yeah. Are you telling us a fib?
But it's, I mean, it is what it is, but I thought we might open this up into a little bit more of a discussion, and a burning question that I am posing you is, what should be Steve Rosich's and new CEO Martin Kugler's 5 biggest priorities in 2026? What have you got for us, Renton?
I've got a combined...
You got a combined? Yeah, no, that's all right.
Combined list. So, for Rosich...
And I'm going to pick you up on these, so just go slow.
Okay, so first one, enhance fan engagement and match day experience.
What does that look like, though?
What does that look like? It means, look, it's been the question and the thing that a lot of A-League fans have complained about for a few years, but it's been exposure, marketing, awareness of the competition itself.
Yep.
You know, we've had some decent crowds this season, but sustainably across the board, it's probably not been at the level that, you know, obviously, ideally, we'd like the league to be. And we've never really been able to capitalise on that momentum, which leads me on to a later point. But yeah, fan engagement and keeping us involved with what the processes are for the APL itself. You know, that's what I'd love to see. Kugler, strengthening the collaboration between the FA and the APL. I think that's pretty important that it happens. Also, another one for Kugler, and for Rosich more so in particular, the commercial and strategic revenue stream, so broadcast deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think
which is due at the end of this season.
Yep, and it kind of leads on to the that hard salary cap as well. I still don't know where we're at with the CBA agreement with the players.
Yep.
Still don't know if that's going to get implemented or not. My belief would be that I wouldn't like to see us go with a hard cap. I mean, I tend to agree with the PFA when they had their rejection of it at the time, where we need to make the A-League as incentivising for players, be it Australians or be it foreign players, as possible. Because while I love the idea of us being a development league, you need to have that healthy balance of young players that are coming through, but top players that are there to mentor them and to look after them. I mean, we're already seeing it this season with, for example, Tom Lawrence, with players like Seb Despotovski.
Yeah.
If Seb didn't have that leadership from a top player that was coming in, then who knows where his development might be. Rosich developed a clear long-term vision for expansion and competition growth, and that's more of a long-term sort of thing. But we need to see the competition grow, and we've had discussions about the need for that second division to eventually come in place, and then hopefully it can come to fruition, but also be a sustainable feature of our game, because we need it for our footballing pyramid. And then the last point would be to maximise national team momentum. So we have I think it's the Asian Cup that is this year.
Correct.
For the women, and we've also got a World Cup for the Socceroos. We've been in this position before where we had a great opportunity with the Socceroos in the 2022 World Cup. There was momentum, and then it went to shit with the grand final deal. We had momentum initially with the Women's World Cup, but it teetered out. I mean, we had interest initially with crowds, but I'm particularly using crowds as a measurement point and exposure point. But they were initially good for the women after the World Cup, but then they dropped. So how do we maintain that? And can we look to be more aggressive and assertive in terms of how we look to exploit and maximise the national team momentum that both teams will be having this year?
As far as the Women's World Cup, I mean, I think you could categorically state that that was hijacked by other codes.
Yes.
The whole, this is a celebration of women's football, became, this is a celebration of sport, and we've got to spread out the wealth and turn into a...
Yeah.
And everyone came, all the other codes came kind of running with their
and
hands
then there was,
held out.
and then there was also with our World Cup for the men,
Yeah.
there was the discussion of how much funding football was getting from the government relative to other sports.
Yep.
Like I think cycling was getting far more investment than football. I think it was Mark Schwarzer who was, I think he was on Optus where he had the discussion about the funds that were there for football. So, if
per capita, it is the lowest of any major sport within Australia.
Yeah.
So think about all the players that we have, professional, juniors, etc.
Highest participated sport among kids, among adults. So, that's the thing. And I remember that presser that Stadge had after this, I think it was a Sydney derby, where he was like, the NRL have Peter V'landys. Well, the A-League, we need our own Peter V'landys to a point. Can Steve Rosich be that guy?
Yeah. Yep.
Can I build off that?
Yeah, go.
Because that's one of my points for Kugler. When he steps in that role is keeping the money within football. So we saw that massive amount of infrastructure that went into the Women's World Cup, and of course, got pissed away on infrastructure that got hijacked by other codes. Is saying, hang on a minute, this is number one. It's for women's football. And it's for football.
And I
think
this
isn't to redevelop a suburban ground in Whoop Whoop for another sport. This is for football. This is for
I'm gonna go
the next generation of girls and women and boys and men who want to play our game. This is a football World Cup that we had over here and a football Asian Cup that's over here. No other codes are doing what we're doing. The NRL's not bringing in countries from all over the world to come and play over here and having as much exposure.
Yep.
The AFL certainly isn't doing it. Rugby union's not doing it. Why doesn't the money get to stay in football? And this is it's a leaky mess and web that we've woven for so many years, where I think back on all the CEOs that we've had in Football Australia, and then after the split, the APL, that have just watched money piss away.
Well, I'd even go one step further and say that money should have gone into women's football and only women's football.
100%.
That's because not even men's football, women's football, because that's what that was designed to do. It was designed to inspire that next generation of women to get involved with the game, to play the game, to keep playing the game, because we do know that when girls reach puberty in a certain age between 14 and 19, they generally give up the game. It's to get women postpartum back involved in the game as well. That's what that money should have been used for.
Blayne, you and I both got very, very young girls.
Yep.
Can we look them in the eye, in when they start playing? My girl, too young to play this year. She'll probably start playing in junior age groups next year, and just say, look, we had a Women's World Cup over here when you were 2, but by the way, there's not much in terms of infrastructure over here or anywhere around Australia because it all got spent on other sports.
Well, I mean, the fact that we've still got girls and women getting changed in cars and behind trees at public parks
that's
because they haven't got the
not
facilities. That goes to show that whole thing was a failure.
Listen, look, let's call it what it is. If you've got women and girls having to get changed behind cars, it's as fast as what it is because how you can't look at the A-League or the Socceroos or the Matildas and go, this is the pinnacle.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we've got women and girls getting changed because they don't play in an area that has got decent facilities because the state government, the council, the federal government hasn't come to the party. And by the way, the club really hasn't done anything about it.
But just to build on that, it's slightly different. But I was listening to Gary Lyon was talking about the West Coast Eagles facilities when the Vics were training there for the State of Origin that we had with the AFL, and was he was like, wow, look at the facilities.
Where was that?
It's the West Coast. They've got the facilities in the left lane.
Yeah.
So it's state of the art. Yet we don't have those kinds of facilities for football. And it's not like I'm saying we should have grandiose facilities for football in itself. But
we do. We've got the Sam Kerr football center.
But we need more. That's the thing. And it's the broader point about needing more investment from government, so that football can become a little bit more of a legitimate sport in terms of, as an example, its facilities, which we desperately need.
We had that opportunity. Unfortunately, it went begging, and a lot of that needs to fall on the Football Australia regime at the time, and that was under James Johnson. As good as he did to try and get that and operate the tournament and everything else, once Annika Wells came out, the federal sports minister, and said, right, this is going to be a celebration of women's sport, he should have been
no chance.
This should have been going straight to football, and he should have been listing all the failures of state and federal and local governments where that money should be going. Anyway, that's me on my soapbox. Boys, I'm going to give you a few. For Martin Kugler, I think first priority has to be financial stability. 8.5 million loss last year. I think they need to try and balance those books. A round of 16 for the Socceroos and a final for the Matildas this year in the Asian Cup and the World Cup, Men's World Cup, respectively, or as close as they can get to that. Staffing at Football Australia, there was a massive load of staff that have either quit or been let go in the last 12 months. There's positions that need to be filled. There is a lag of work.
APL as well, no? Hasn't there been a fair bit?
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Sorry.
At Football Australia, a lot of work needs to be done in that space. Into this current cycle, a broadcast deal for the Socceroos Matildas Australia Cup Australian Championship needs to be sorted. I'd also like to see an NPL match of the week involved in that as well. I think that would be...
Do you not think that this is where the Championship has their time to shine?
The Championship and the NPL don't play at the same stage?
They certainly don't, but those are some of the same clubs that will be playing there.
Oh, sure.
And certainly, people... probably aren't going to turn in to watch Perth Soccer Club play Armidale at Alfred Skeet, but they'd go and watch or tune in to watch South Melbourne against Sydney Olympic.
Yeah. As I said, it was just a thought more than anything, even if it's just on YouTube. But I mean, as part of that package production and everything else like that. And my fifth one is the commencement of a long-term strategic plan. I'm not talking 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I'm talking 50 to 100 years. This is what this country and this football needs. We need something big, we need something bold, and we need something that we can all shoot for.
This is straight from the SFSAA notes, is it?
Well, we're all singing from the same hymn book. I mean, we spoke about Adam Peacock's idea last week, and even he, in enough words, said, look, we need some big, bold strategy and vision. Yep. We don't have that currently. So whatever that looks like,
bring something to the table.
Exactly right.
Well, just before we move on, though, just for burning question, for Steve Rosich.
Yep.
at the APL. Look, the broadcast deal is coming to an end soon. I know that they'll be starting to look at what they want, whether they want to stay on Paramount or whether they want to go for probably less money and go on a more widely supported platform somewhere. But I think that's where they need to have a look at some of the vision too, whether they want to stay on Paramount. It's not the best platform, doesn't have a great uptake. The sport really for the general public is pretty buried and it is hard to watch.
But I think that's
or whether they look at somewhere that's got a free TV component.
Yeah. Well, it does have a free-to-air component.
More so. Because I know you've got your one match away.
Do you mean more like we have with like Foxtel, for example, where you've got that exposure that's more consistent?
Absolutely. Look, more people still have Fox or have KO than have Paramount, just in terms of the streaming numbers. And look, they put a press release out and said, the streaming numbers are up. But
no, I mean, but
one is more than zero. You know,
what I'm saying is that it's the free-to-air component that you want to build on, and 10 does have that. You've got to remember is that the APL may not have a choice whether they go with Paramount, because Paramount may be the only ones, like they were last time, who want to bid for it. Simple as that. You can something's only worth what people are willing to buy for it, and that's as simple as that. So I think there has to be a non-negotiable. At least one non-negotiable has to be the A-League has to be packaged up with what the FA is doing with the Socceroos, Matildas, Australian Championship and everything else like that. I think that has to be a non-negotiable, whether it's with Paramount, whether it's with Stan, whether it's with DAZN through Foxtel, who, of course, Danny Townsend and Stephen Conroy are on the board of. So what that might look like, I think that's got to be at least the one non-negotiable.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
If you can package that into Premier League,
that'd be the dream.
Then you're onto a winner. I think you're onto a winner.
That's where we were with Fox, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where we'd have the games, particularly the games here at Perth,
lead into 3 A-League games.
Super Saturday.
Yeah.
And then you'd have the 7:30, the 10:30, and then the 1:30 kickoff. So you'd be away. Yeah. My priorities for Rosich is, first of all, guaranteed survival of the Central Coast. They've got to find an owner. They've got to find an owner who's going to take that on board.
And make sure they stay in Gosford. Correct.
Collective bargaining agreement. This has to be sealed by June, boys.
There's not been many updates, have there?
It has to be sealed by June because that is when contracts end.
I don't know if it goes through, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I don't know. And then you've got the whole idea of the hard cap, what that looks like. Marquees, what that looks like.
You know full well 29th of June we're going to see both parties agree to an extension.
Yeah, well, I mean, but what I'm saying is that's at the risk of having the members of the players' union unemployed and no employment for the foreseeable future. So that's dangerous areas.
Yep.
Real dangerous areas, I feel. That's pushing towards strike territory.
Yeah, we've got to come up with something quick.
Yeah. So something to look out for there. Broadcast deal, as mentioned, has to be in line with Football Australia. A sustainable and merit-based plan for expansion, whenever that might look like, whatever that might look like. There has to be a mechanism to be able to connect the tiers, whatever that might look like. If it's all right, every 5 years we're going to push a team from the Championship up to the A-League. If that's it, then that's it. Use it. But there has to be some kind of mechanism there to be able to let it fill up with existing clubs.
Yep.
We can't afford to have a Western United or MacArthur situation again where we all look at ourselves and go, well, who actually wanted these clubs?
Well, we've got to look at that, though, because what were the decision that was made? Whose bright idea was it to have a club in MacArthur?
Fox.
Yeah. So the old broadcaster who dumped the A-League shortly after that decision?
Yeah.
And then Western United, we're going to build a suburb around a club, but by the way, all the money is tied up in land, so we're not going to get any return on investment for the next 25 years.
Yep.
Great. That's a great idea. Let's do that.
You know what? We're going off of a different topic now, but that's actually quite a common scenario where you actually have the sporting facilities there before you have the residential dwellings.
Yep.
It's happened in a few suburbs around Perth, in fact, at a lower level. But that's
at a lower level that makes sense.
Like, no, but it's happening all over Australia.
I can point to Coburn, where I live at the moment, and Coburn is really good at, we're going to have a housing area in this suburb, brand spanking new sporting facilities, multi-code.
No, but you have those.
Then,
you have those.
Then the houses go up
there, and then. But this is the same way that and I think many have taken a bit of a example out of a lot of what happens in America. I mean, you have a look at their stadia. It's not inner cities.
No way.
It is
in the middle of
as
nowhere.
far as you can go.
Yep.
And my last one, boys, just to we've gone off on a tangent, but the A-League must unite the stakeholders and position itself as the shop window for football in Australia and not the shop itself. It's not the end-all and be-all, and it needs to understand that it's the top of the pyramid, but it's the small part of the pyramid as well. That means the opportunities below it, if it wants to connect. If it wants to stay as a private closed shop, entity, then I think we find ourselves in the same predicament over and over and over again. It has to try and embed itself in these communities.
That's right.
What's going to be interesting is if we do end up in a situation where we have promotion and relegation, like you mentioned, you want Central Coast to survive and stay in Central Coast. If a club like Central Coast did get relegated back to the NPL, would they survive?
I didn't say anything about relegation.
You don't want them to unite the pyramids?
Well, what I'm trying to say is top up the A-League with promotion only to begin with.
Who are we going to see there? We're going to see a couple of clubs in New South Wales, a couple of clubs in Victoria.
Yeah, so
push their way in.
Yeah, if that's on merit both on and off the field, and they're sustainable, do it. Why wouldn't you?
Although I've got no argument, I think those clubs will do quite well.
Yeah, so do I.
Particularly once they're able to get themselves in the A-League and start attracting A-League players.
As a byproduct, you are actually connecting the A-League with those communities.
Yeah.
You can't expect a South Melbourne fan just to go, we'll come and support Melbourne Victory. I don't need to support Melbourne Victory. I'm a South Melbourne fan. I've already got my club. Yep. I don't need to do that.
Yeah,
we've got to stop that attitude. That doesn't help.
The other token is clubs like South Melbourne, ethnic clubs, and I don't want to come off as derogatory or whatnot, but there's a limited shelf life for a South Melbourne fan.
Why?
Well, it's a Greek club, is it not?
Well, it's got Greek heritage.
It's got Greek heritage. So when did we have a last wave come across from Greece? You're relying on the
older
sons.
Guys,
yeah, but once the older generations start to go, and they're in that age bracket where they're starting to go now, the younger generations, as they integrate more and more with Australia, you don't need to go to South Melbourne Hellas to go and catch up with your Greek mates.
Yeah,
you've got Bobby down the street, or you've got Sam down the street.
The onus is on the club to ensure that it can keep its members and its membership thriving
sustainably,
and B, if that involves a change in identity or a change in structure, then you do it. It's like a business.
But if that's the case, are we not back to where we were with the A-League and generic clubs?
If people stop eating hamburgers and they only want to eat tacos, the best thing for McDonald's to do is stop selling hamburgers and start selling tacos. If that's the way it's got to be, then that's the way it's got to be.
I agree with you, but we're seeing in business will just go down. Business will just go down, mate.
Anyway, I'm getting hungry. I'm going home to dinner. Tacos. I'm going home to eat. Boys, no, good discussion anyway. And I do like, as I said, I like chewing the fat on a few of these topics. So, no, very good. Very, very quickly, A-League women, great win over Canberra, Renton on the weekend.
Yes.
Susan Phonsongkham, Olimpico again, second one for the season.
Could have had a few more goals put on the board as well. I think we did ride our luck initially. Not a game that had a huge...
Who's up? Sorry, go.
The game didn't have a huge amount of chances throughout, I felt. But I felt, we were a little bit more threatening in the second half in particular.
Yeah.
Good win. Got the Jets away this week.
Correct. I mean, they need to go on a run, don't they?
Yeah, well, they've still got a chance.
Yeah.
I think there's like 4 points between second and eighth, if I'm not wrong.
Newcastle's sitting a bit lowly, aren't they?
They're ninth, I believe.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I did see Stephen Peters at the NPLW Night Series on the weekend, and he looked just from distance, and he looked to be in a pretty happy mood after that result. So very, very good. Speaking about night series, Mars NPL Men's Night Series final this weekend. Olympics taking on Stirling at Masso Park.
It's going to be a cracker, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit of a derby,
cracker.
that one. So looking forward to it, and it will be at Stirling's home ground. So a bit going on there. NPLW Night Series continues on this weekend. 2 games at Doreen Gardens Friday night. Couldn't tell you where the other games are being played. Haven't done my research on that. My apologies, but you can check it all out through the Football West website. Boys, just before we wrap things up, tips for the weekend. A-League men's competition Friday night, Adelaide, Perth, Murray Stevens.
Adelaide.
Draw.
Oh, wow.
I'm going semi glass half full with my purple coloured glasses on. Saturday, Wellington, Auckland, Kiwi derby. This is interesting considering Auckland's coming off this bit of a weird midweeker.
Auckland. I can't get a read on Wellington.
Yeah.
Even in Wellington?
Auckland.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Put Cosgrove down for 2.
I just hope to see a good crowd down there. Wellington's crowds have been
pretty poo.
Pretty poor throughout the year. Sydney v Brisbane, Saturday.
Can both teams lose?
Be ideal.
They can both not win.
Sydney.
Yeah, Sydney.
Sydney for me as well. Melbourne Derby, I didn't realise, is the feature match. Free to air, Channel 12, I think. Melbourne City, Melbourne victory, Muzz.
It'd be a cracking game. I'll toss a coin and I'll go victory.
Victory.
City for me. Central Coast Wanderers, Sunday.
Central Coast.
Yeah, I'd say Central Coast. Yeah.
Yep, I'm going for the Mariners as well. And finally, Newcastle v Macarthur.
Draw.
Ooh.
Macarthur were the team that gave Newcastle their last loss, I believe. So I hate Macarthur, but I think they'll do it. I think that there will be a point where Newcastle will get high off their own farts, but I wonder if it will be this week or next.
All right.
So, it's not going to happen this week. Newcastle are going to win 3-0.
Yeah, I think Newcastle's onto something. Narrowly Newcastle for me. Boys, thank you very much. Murray Stevens, thank you for stepping into the chair, and also James Renton. Big thank you to ID Athletic. Don't forget to download the latest football catalogue, idathletic.com. And, of course, Trio Homes, Dino Djurbic and the team. Big happy birthday to Dino Djurbic. Yes. 16th of February. I know because he's born exactly a day younger than me. So, yeah. So, big happy birthday to Dino. I'm sure that he is, probably had a few beers throughout the week, so very, very good. Don't forget to tell everyone about the Far Post Perth podcast, now available on Spotify, on Apple and YouTube Music, and we'll see you next Tuesday for more on the Far Post Perth podcast.